ever met someone who came from the same country as you, spoke the same language as you, and shared the same culture as you, and yet somehow lived in a completely different world? Because sometimes the people who teach us the biggest lessons are not strangers. Sometimes they are people who are just like us. Let me take you back.
Take it down.
Many years ago, I was working overseas as a cabin crew member. And if you've ever been an overseas Filipino worker or an OFW, you know something about Filipino communities abroad. Even when there are thousands of us, somehow we are connected. We may not all be close friends, we may not know every detail about each other's lives, but somehow stories travel. Somehow someone knows someone, or someone has heard something. And sometimes people know part of your story before they even really know you. Back then, many of my colleagues knew that I was a single mother. And honestly, I never hid it. Actually, I was proud of it because my son was never something I felt ashamed of. He was my biggest why. He was my strength. He was the reason I worked far away from home. He was the reason I pushed through moments when life felt incredibly difficult. I remember another one long haul flight when another Filipina cabin crew and I had a chance to sit together at the famous jump seat. We were not close friends, but we moved within the same circle. She was warm, she was charming, she was easy to talk to, and during a conversation, she asked me something that surprised me. She did not ask, "Are you a single mother?" She already knew. Instead, she asked, "So, how is it being a single mother?" And I started sharing. Told her about my son. I told her how young he was when he had to undergo surgery. I told her why I chose to work overseas, and like any proud mother, I probably talked about him with so much love. Because when I looked at my son, I did not see a mistake. I did not see a burden. I just saw a child I fought for. I saw a life I was grateful for. Then she said something I never forgot. She said, "You're actually the first single mother I've ever met." Here's what I believe then. I remember being surprised. I was not angry. I was not offended, just surprised, because in my world, single mothers were not unusual. They were everywhere. They were women I knew, women I grew up with, women who were my friends, women who were simply part of everyday Filipino life. Their stories were different. Some were abandoned, some left relationships that were no longer healthy, some became mothers in circumstances they never expected, some were simply trying to create the best life possible for their children. But they existed. So when she told me I was the first single mother she had ever met, I remember thinking, how is that possible? How could two Filipinas come from the same country and have such different experiences? And that was the moment I realized something. We don't always live the same reality, even when we come from the same place. Because the Philippines I knew was shaped by the people I had encountered, the stories I had heard, the women I had met, the struggles I had witnessed. But her reality was shaped by a different environment, different experiences, different people, different circumstances. And maybe that is true for all of us. We all live inside invisible bubbles, not because we are bad people, not because we don't care, but because we cannot fully understand what we have never experienced. And that conversation also made me reflect on my own story, because becoming a single mother was never part of my plan. Nobody wakes up and says, "This is exactly how I imagined my life." Life happens, relationships change, and circumstances change. And suddenly, we find ourselves carrying responsibilities we never expected. For me, marriage was something I took very seriously. Because in the Philippines, marriage is not something you simply walk away from. There is no easy exit. So choosing who you marry is not just about love. It is about choosing someone you believe you can build a lifetime with. And that is a very heavy decision. Here's what I understand now. For many years, I kept thinking about that conversation, not because of what she said, but because of what it revealed. Two women, same nationality, same culture, same language, and yet completely different realities. Back then, I thought the difference between us was that she had never met someone like me. But now, I see it differently. Maybe it wasn't that she didn't understand me. Maybe it was simply that life had not introduced her to my reality yet. Because isn't that true for all of us? There are things we cannot understand until life brings them directly to our doorstep. There are struggles we cannot fully see until we are the ones carrying them. There are stories we cannot imagine until suddenly we become part of them. Years after I left the airline, I saw on Facebook that her life had changed. The woman who once told me she had never met a single mother had become one herself. My first reaction was not, "Now she understands." It was a, "Now she knows what I went through." Because life is not about proving someone wrong. Life is much more complicated than that. What I felt was something different. I felt empathy. Because the woman who once could not imagine my life eventually found herself living a version of it. And the person who had the least understanding became someone I could now understand. Not because she changed, but because life gave her a story she had never encountered before. And that is something I think we all need to remember. Sometimes we judge a chapter of someone's life because we have never read the pages that came before it. We see the outcome, but we don't see the struggle. We see the choice, but we don't see the circumstances that led someone there. We see the person, but we don't see the story.
And maybe that is why compassion matters.
Because someday, any one of us might find ourselves living the story we once thought we could never understand. For the single mothers watching this, what is that something people assume about you that is not true? And for everyone else, have you ever had someone judge your life without knowing your story? I would love to hear your thoughts. Once again, I am Z, and this is Nobody Told Us. See you at the next one.